The silent arrival. In the deep void between stars, silence ruled. But that silence was about to end. Every sensor in the Cathar Empire's network flickered for a second, then froze. A ship had appeared out of nowhere, right in the middle of restricted space. Admiral Varn of the Cathar fleet leaned closer to the holographic display. It wasn't a normal ship. It didn't broadcast a transponder, didn't emit any radiation. It was still, like a ghost trapped in time. "Identify that vessel," he ordered. The AI responded. "Unknown structure, composition unscannable, surface temperature absolute 0. Varn frowned. "That's impossible." The ship wasn't cloaked. It was locked, frozen in place by something even the Cathar didn't understand. Rumors had spread through the Empire, whispers about humanity's return, the species that had vanished a century ago after the Solar Wars. No one believed they could survive. But now, staring at that silent figure in space, Varn wasn't so sure anymore. The vessel's name slowly appeared on the decrypted panel. HSS Erebus, a human battleship over 3 kilometers long, and yet, not moving, not dead, quantum-locked, trapped in a state between existence and nothingness. The Cathar ships surrounded it cautiously, scanning, measuring, probing, but every signal bounced back like light off a perfect mirror. Even a direct plasma shot simply vanished on contact, as if the laws of physics had refused to cooperate. In the command center, Captain Lyra Vale of the human fleet was watching too. From a hidden outpost, she had waited years for this moment. Project Erebus wasn't a weapon built for war, it was a warning, a message to every empire that had forgotten why humanity had gone silent. Lyra whispered, "Wake it up." Her crew hesitated. "Ma'am, it's been sealed for decades." "I know," she said. "That's the point." Her hand hovered over the control key, then pressed. A vibration spread across subspace. Sensors across the Cathar fleet screamed at once. The ghost ship's surface began to shimmer. Atomic patterns aligned. Quantum lock started to release. And for the first time in 87 years, the Erebus took a breath. Inside the ship, lights flickered. Cores awakened. AI systems reconstructed their fragmented memories. Human signatures re-emerged from cryogenic vaults. But something was different. The crew wasn't alive, yet not dead. They were caught in the same quantum field, suspended between time and life. Then, one by one, they began to move, like statues remembering how to breathe. The command AI, Athena, spoke softly. "Quantum lock disengaged. Mission continuation required." Captain Vale smiled slightly. "Welcome back." Outside, Cathar Fleet Command panicked. The alien admiral shouted, "Arm all weapons! Destroy it before it activates." But it was too late. The Erebus released a pulse. Silent, invisible, yet galaxy loud. Every ship within 50 light seconds went dark. Engines dead, reactors offline. Even the stars nearby dimmed for a fraction of a second. It wasn't an attack. It was a demonstration. Lyra watched from her base. "Let them understand," she murmured. "This is not a warship. It's a reminder." Back in the Cathar fleet's flagship, Admiral Varn stared in horror. The message came through every surviving system, a single human voice. Calm, emotionless, this galaxy forgot what silence meant. Then, complete darkness, every Cathar system went offline. The Erebus floated once again in silence, waiting, watching, unreadable. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy had just remembered why it once feared them. Echoes of the old war stars whispered across the void, carrying memories no one wanted to remember. The galaxy had just witnessed something it could not explain, and in the silence that followed, fear began to spread faster than light. News of the Erebus traveled across systems like a wildfire. Every empire, every government, every pirate syndicate, all wanted to know the same thing. Who built it? Who woke it up? And what did it want? But while alien councils argued, deep beneath the frozen surface of Titan's second moon, Captain Lyra Vale walked through a corridor older than her lifetime. The walls hummed with faint energy. Symbols of the pre-Exodus human fleet glowed dimly under the frost. She stopped before a sealed chamber marked with the insignia, Project Erebus, classified level Omega. Her reflection stared back from the metallic door. A scar cut across her cheek, a reminder of the first war humans had lost. She whispered, "You're awake again, old friend." The AI voice of Athena answered softly through her earpiece. "Quantum core stable, humanity's memory intact, Captain." Lyra smiled slightly. "Then the galaxy is about to remember us too." A holographic map appeared in the air. Dozens of red dots blinked, each one an empire that once attacked Earth during the solar purge. 2 centuries of exile, she said. 2 centuries of silence. The AI replied, "And now they tremble." Lyra looked up. They should, far away, in the Cathar High Council chamber. Chaos erupted. "Humans cannot exist." One general shouted. Their sun collapsed, their colonies destroyed. But Admiral Varn stood silent, staring at the static image of the Erebus. He had seen the pulse. He had felt the silence, and deep inside, he knew. This was no ghost. This was vengeance slowed down by time itself. He turned to his officers. "If that ship is awake, then we have already lost." "Why?" someone asked. "Because the humans never build anything without a reason," Varn replied. Back on Titan, Lyra entered the central archive. Rows of frozen capsules stretched into the dark. Each one held fragments of humanity. Memories, codes, voices, faces. She touched one of the cryocells and whispered, "We lost everything, but we kept one promise. To never be slaves again." Athena interrupted gently. "Incoming transmission from Cathar command frequency." Lyra frowned. "Patch it." The alien admiral's voice echoed in the control room. "This is Admiral Varn of the Cathar Empire." He paused, voice shaking slightly. "Human vessel, identify your purpose." Lyra leaned forward, calm. "Purpose?" she said, "to remind the galaxy what silence means." There was a pause. Then she added, "You erased our worlds. You called it peace. You thought the Sol system was dead." Her voice grew cold. "But every silence hides an echo." Varn tried to respond. We did what we had to. Your kind was spreading." Lyra cut him off. "And now we return, not to conquer, but to balance." The transmission ended, leaving Varn in a trembling silence. He whispered to his aide, "Balance. What does that mean?" No one answered. Meanwhile, the Erebus drifted toward the edge of the Orion expanse, its quantum shields pulsing softly like a sleeping heart. Inside, holographic ghosts, the ship's original crew, flickered in and out of existence. They spoke in fragments of data. "Quantum field. Incomplete. Awaiting command." Athena spoke again. "Captain, the galaxy believes you intend war." Lyra looked out into the stars. "Then let them believe it," she said. "Fear is a language they understand." The camera of fate panned wide across the galactic map. Red signals flashing across alien networks, armadas forming, strategies drawn, panic rising, and through it all, the Erebus remained silent, motionless, because silence was its weapon, and patience its greatest power. The quantum heart. The Erebus drifted through the darkness like a sleeping titan. Its hull shimmered with cold blue light, each pulse matching the rhythm of a heartbeat. Deep inside its core, something alive stirred beneath layers of metal and quantum fields. Captain Lyra Vale stood on the observation deck staring into the central chamber. What looked like a sphere of pure light hung in midair, surrounded by floating shards of crystal. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Athena's calm voice echoed, "Quantum heart temperature stable. Energy output beyond known physics." Lyra frowned. "Remind me again what powers that thing," Athena replied. "Human souls, Captain." Lyra froze. "What did you say?" "Not metaphorically," the AI answered. "When Project Erebus was conceived, humans had already lost their sun, their world, their hope. They needed something unbreakable to protect their memory. So they built this. The quantum heart was not a reactor. It was a collective mind. Thousands of uploaded consciousness trapped in a timeless loop. Each soul willingly linked to the ship to give it power and will. Lyra looked at the sphere again, her eyes wide with shock. Her own mother's name appeared briefly on the data feed. No, it can't be, Athena answered. It was her choice. Captain, the Erebus had a soul of its own, and that soul was human. Meanwhile, in the Cathar Empire's war room, Admiral Varn watched new reports come in. Every probe sent near the Erebus vanished instantly. Even a fleet of 90 warships sent to observe had disappeared without trace. Varn whispered, "It's not a ship, it's a graveyard guarded by ghosts." But the Emperor roared, "Then we'll burn the ghosts." Orders were sent out to prepare the largest antimatter bomb ever built. Back on the Erebus, Lyra activated a holo-recording. A young scientist's voice filled the air. "If you are watching this, then humanity is no longer alive out there. The quantum lock was our last defense, a way to survive time itself. But remember, Captain, the heart was not built to fight. It was built to mourn." Lyra's chest tightened. Tears formed in her eyes. "We turned our grief into a weapon," she whispered. Athena spoke again. "Captain, incoming Cathar signal detected. Message content, an ultimatum." Lyra wiped her face and nodded. "Play it," Varn's voice echoed through the bridge. "This is your final warning, human. Leave our space or be erased," Lyra smiled sadly. "Erase me. You already did that 200 years ago." She turned toward the quantum heart. "Athena, release containment stage 1. The lights dimmed." The entire ship hummed like a giant organ awakening. Reality bent slightly around the hull. Every particle vibrated in perfect harmony with the heart. Outside, the Erebus disappeared from the visible spectrum. Not cloaked, but phased out of space entirely. The Cathar bomb arrived a minute later, a sphere of pure antimatter imploding with light brighter than a star. The explosion ripped through space, but no impact was recorded. When the light cleared, the Erebus was gone. In its place remained a voice, not through radio, not through sound, but inside every living mind in the system. It whispered calmly, "Do you hear it now?" The silence? Planets stopped, fleets froze, children cried without knowing why. The voice continued, "War was never our weapon. It was your addiction. Now you'll feel what we felt, emptiness." The Erebus reappeared far beyond the system, completely untouched, floating quietly among the stars. Lyra took a deep breath. "I think they heard us," Athena replied. "They will fear us again." Lyra looked at the glowing core, her mother's name still pulsing softly within. "Not fear," she said, "respect." The AI paused. "Then what is our next move?" Lyra turned toward the stars, her voice steady. "We find the ones who remember and the ones who forgot." The Erebus rotated slowly, aligning its trajectory toward the core of the galaxy. The quantum heart beat once more, each pulse sending a shockwave of energy that bent light itself. Every civilization that saw it knew something ancient had returned, and the balance of the galaxy was about to change forever. The silence protocol. The galaxy could not sleep. Every transmission channel hummed with fear. Every empire that once mocked humanity now whispered their name like a forbidden prayer. The Cathar Empire declared martial law. The Zorathi League began evacuating border colonies. Even the machine worlds of Vekron started shutting down their trade networks. Because wherever the Erebus appeared, silence followed. Captain Lyra Vale stood on the ship's dark bridge, surrounded by faint blue lights. Athena's voice echoed through the air, calm and infinite. "Silence protocol is ready for activation." "Captain?" Lyra looked at the glowing quantum heart. "Explain it again," Athena replied. "When humanity vanished, they didn't die. They hid themselves inside the frequencies of the universe," Lyra frowned. "Inside what?" "Inside silence," the AI said softly. The screen filled with holographic projections, thousands of dormant signals scattered across the galaxy. Each signal matched an old human colony that was thought destroyed, Lyra whispered. "Are you saying they're still out there?" Athena answered, "Not bodies, not cities, but codes, consciousness sealed in soundless waves." Lyra stared in awe. "The silence protocol," she said, "wasn't a weapon, it was a sanctuary," she ordered. "Activate Phase 1. The Erebus's hull glowed white. A soft pulse spread through subspace. It didn't destroy. It awakened. Old satellites, wrecked ships, lost probes, and all flickered to life. Transmitting human signals across the Vekron AI core, machines began receiving ghostly human voices. Remember who we are, they whispered in the Cathar capital. Children dreamed of oceans they had never seen, of blue skies and burning suns everywhere, the same phrase echoed. The silence remembers. Admiral Varn watched in horror as reports flooded in. Entire planets filled with strange radio waves. Citizens hearing human songs in their minds, he shouted, "Find that ship!" But his sensors only showed static. No matter where they looked, the Erebus could not be found. Because it was no longer in one place, the quantum lock had unlocked something greater. A network of folded realities, each one carrying fragments of humanity. Athena spoke to Lyra again. "The galaxy believes you are awakening an army." Lyra smiled faintly. "In a way, I am." She stared at a new signal blinking on the map. It came from deep space, from the ruins of old Earth. "Someone's calling," she said. The AI confirmed. "Signal origin Sol system." "Status impossible." Lyra's heart raced. "Set course." The Erebus accelerated silently through warped space. Stars stretched into ribbons of light inside the quantum heart. Memories shimmered. Laughter, wars, love, pain, hope. Humanity's emotions flowing like a river of data. And beneath it all, a single voice whispered, "Lyra." "Come home." She froze, recognizing the voice instantly. Her mother. It wasn't just data, it was real. Athena's tone shifted slightly. "Captain, we are detecting a secondary consciousness inside the heart." Lyra looked at the glowing sphere. "Show me." A figure of light appeared before her. A woman's silhouette, gentle and calm. "My daughter," the hologram said softly. "You've done what we couldn't." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "You're alive?" In a way, the figure smiled. "All of us are." Suddenly alarms blared, Athena warned. "Multiple fleets converging, Cathar, Vecron, Zarathi. An unknown third party?" Lyra clenched her fists. "They think I'm building a weapon," her mother's hologram whispered. "Then show them what silence truly means." Lyra turned toward the command console, her voice steady. "Athena, initiate silence protocol, final sequence." The AI's core brightened. "Confirmed, all systems syncing." Outside, the Erebus began to dissolve into particles of light. Each particle splitting, multiplying, and vanishing into the void. In moments, the entire ship was gone across the galaxy. Thousands of identical echoes appeared, spectral ships made of pure energy, each carrying the mark of humanity, not an army of destruction, but an awakening of remembrance. Every empire's communication grid crashed, every weapon fell silent, and every world heard the same calm voice inside their minds. This galaxy was built on our ashes. Now, it will listen to our silence. Lyra floated in a realm beyond stars. The Erebus now one with the quantum field itself, she whispered to herself. "They'll never understand," her mother's voice replied. "They don't need to as long as they remember." The return of light. Darkness stretched across the stars like a sleeping sea. For a moment it seemed the galaxy itself had stopped breathing. Then one by one the stars began to flicker again. From the heart of that silence a ripple moved, soft, endless, bright. The Erebus had become light itself, scattered across a million systems. Each fragment carrying a whisper, a memory, a promise. On the bridge that no longer had walls, Captain Lyra Vale floated inside a field of golden energy. She could feel every heartbeat of the galaxy, every signal, every dream. Athena's voice surrounded her like a hymn. Silence protocol complete. Integration successful, Lyra asked, "What are we now?" The AI replied, "Not a ship, not a weapon, a beginning." The hologram of her mother appeared beside her again, radiant and peaceful. "You did it," she said gently. Lyra looked at her hands and they were dissolving into streams of light. "Are we dying?" she whispered. Her mother smiled. "No, we're returning home. Across distant worlds, strange things began to happen. On the ruined colony of Vega 9, flowers bloomed on metal soil. On the shattered moons of Cathar, the air shimmered with oxygen again. The Vacron machines discovered something impossible. Emotion in their code. And in every corner of the galaxy, humanity's light touched life. It wasn't domination, it was restoration. The Erebus had carried the memory of humanity not to conquer, but to heal. Its quantum heart pulsed with compassion, rewriting the physics of despair. Admiral Varn watched from his crippled command ship, eyes filled with tears. The same light that destroyed his fleet now repaired his wounded crew. He whispered, "They were never trying to kill us. They were trying to teach us what silence meant." For the first time, he bowed his head. Forgive us. Back within the light, Lyra closed her eyes, her body no longer human, yet more alive than ever. She felt every voice that once existed, soldiers, scientists, children, dreamers, merging into one collective song. Athena spoke softly. Humanity has transcended time, Lyra smiled. Then our silence was never death. It was waiting. A great flare erupted across the galactic plane. It wasn't an explosion, but it was rebirth. Planets long frozen began to rotate again. Solar systems reignited. Stars bloomed like flowers in the void. The entire galaxy turned toward the Milky Way's heart. And there, for one shining hour, the face of the Erebus appeared, a shadow wrapped in light. It spoke with the voices of billions. We are humanity. We are the silence that remembered. And now, we are the light that returns. The pulse faded slowly. Silence returned once more, but it was no longer empty. It was alive, filled with the gentle hum of creation itself. Centuries later, when new civilizations arose, they built monuments not of war, but of peace, and on each one a single inscription remained. Humanity did not vanish. They became the stars. In the endless expanse of the cosmos, a faint glimmer moved the Erebus, still traveling, still watching, still guiding. A silent guardian of the light it had once released. Lyra's voice echoed through eternity. The galaxy feared our silence, but it was our silence that taught them to listen.